Hey, everybody. Welcome to John D. Podcast. I'm your host, John D. Miller. Welcome to episode number 58. Everybody, number 58, numero 58 in the old Espanol language. That's right. 1,036 going on. 1,037 days as I begin to record this of no booze. No booze. Yeah, no booze. How are yous? How are yous? How are y'alls? Yes, everybody. I passed 1,000 days of no booze since the last time I was here. Thank you to anybody and everybody who might have reached out and said, hey, thanks. I did put a thing on Facebook. It's not every day that you've gone 1,000 of them without drinking. And yeah, because I'm a little proud of myself. 1,000 days. 1,000 days. If anybody's ever known me in my lifetime and I told them, hey, I'm going to go 1,000 days without drinking, they go, shut the fuck up. Just like I would have said it. Same thing. Believe it when I see it. Well, you are hearing it. And if you see me, you will see that I don't drink anymore. I do wonder, because I was saying, I talked about how I put that thing on Facebook. I do wonder. Now, can I put out another post when it get to 3 years, which will be in February 18th will be 3 years. Can I put something out for that? And then I won't post for a while, at least another year, because I won't hit another 1,000 days. Right? Can I still do that? Yeah. And you know, I'm just wondering, because I don't want to wear out my welcome as far as my, hey, everybody pat me on the back for beating addiction. You know, I don't know. Is it too much? No, actually, you know what? I want to share it with people, because I want people to know that I'm doing it, and that, you know, perhaps they can do it too. Or just an update. I don't know. Some people out there might care about me. So, yeah, 1,000 days, man. That was very cool. And I'll talk to you about it when I get to 3 years, which will be in February. And also, since the last time I was here, only a few days after my last episode dropped here, I released on John D. Podcom on YouTube. You can go on there. There's video of me doing stand-up. Some of it's better than others. But I'm just being honest about, you know, getting back into doing it and, you know, what it looks like. So I have some of that on there. And then, but also what I did, I took the audio from that show I told you about a while back called At Another Round bar on the north side of Richmond over there, close to where I grew up. I took the audio from it and I made it into like a little album. I edited it down a little bit. Mr. Tom Handcuff put his magical spin on it, and then I did a little bit myself. And but he did majority of it, and I would definitely say he co-produced it for sure. And I put it together with a little picture that I made, and it's on YouTube, and you can listen to it. It's called Quick Burn, a short comedy album. And I should have called it like a showcase comedy album, because that's really what more of the set is like, or along the lines of, you know, it's a little looser, you know, where I wouldn't, you know, like a showcase style set that you might see at a New York or LA club. It's a quick burn. It's a quick album. I'm not really burning the material. Some of it I am, actually. Some of that stuff is going bye-bye. Unless I got to do like, you know, an hour or something. In which case I might pull it back out, but I think I'm entitled. But yeah, so I took it. It's on YouTube. You can listen to it. It's just one segment, but it's like 21:14 or something like that. And you can listen to it for free. There's a donation button on there if you want to donate a little bit of money to the cause, you know, whatever. John D. Podcom on Venmo. There's a link on there if you want to do that, but it's free. Anybody wants to, you know, spread it around or whatever. So it was just something I'd always wanted to do. And the artwork was kind of cool. I took this picture that I had that I actually put on Facebook, but it's where I am wearing my reading glasses and my sunglasses at the same time, because I had my sunglasses on and I had to, I was trying to see something, trying to read something, and I put my reading glasses on and then realized I had them both on. You know, I thought I looked completely ridiculous. So I'm going to take a picture of this real quick. And I snapped a selfie. And it came out pretty cool. It did a little coloration to it. Nothing fancy. Nothing major. But I was kind of proud with the artwork. Did the background. Took the background out. Yeah. You can see it. Go on John D. Podcom on YouTube. And let me know what you think. Like, subscribe, download. If you want to support it, John D. Podcom on Venmo. All right. That's enough of that. It was really cool. It was fun to do. And I was very proud of myself. So anyway, yeah, please be sure to check it out. All right, now moving on. I got to talk about this because it is some of the best news I've had in a very long time. Which, by the way, welcome back, MondoMonsterwear.com. MondoMonsterWear.com. Shirts that feed the geeky mind. Podcast at checkout for 10% off your entire order. Yeah, so this is what's going on. Star Wars fans, you had to be rejoicing because we all, I think pretty much, it's almost unanimous. I think there's maybe some dissenters amongst us. However, they have made the official announcement that Dave Filoni is going to be the chief creative officer for everything Star Wars. Now, I literally got goosebumps when I read that. Who wouldn't have? I mean, Clone Wars, it goes back so far, right? So far. Clone Wars, Rebels. He had a little Resistance thing. I wasn't a huge fan of that. But all the other stuff he's done, Mandalorian, all these other things. He is in charge. I wish he'd been in charge when the sequels were made, 7, 8, and 9. But you know, you can't change time, right? People are like, oh, we're going to redo them. Who are the dumbasses that keep saying that? They're going to redo, what was it? No, they're going to redo The Last Jedi. They were saying that years ago. It was never going to, they're going to redo an entire hundreds of millions of dollar budget movie. Are you psycho? What world do you live in where you think that's going to happen? Anyways, I digress. Dave Filoni will be working with Kathleen Kennedy. I almost said Kathleen Madigan, who's not the president of Lucasfilm. Rather, an awesome, amazing comedian. She's fantastic. If you ever have a chance to see her, Kathleen Madigan. No, Kathleen Kennedy is the president of Lucasfilm, and she'll be working directly with Mr. Dave Filoni, and they'll be deciding on what's going to happen. This is where I talked about it. The writer's strike and everything else like that, and the SAG-AFTRA strike are really going to show. They're really going to show. And it sucks. It sucks if you are a Star Wars fan. So this is why I bring this up, because if you're looking ahead to what is coming, we are going to get Skeleton Crew, which is, I guess is what I've read, it's about a bunch of kids or something that are out in the galaxy far, far away. You're going to get the Bad Batch Season 3, which is the animated series, which is awesome, about the Clone Troopers, and/or Season 2. Now, I am seriously looking forward to this. I really am. I loved the first season. It was a little dark. Talked to some people about it, and they're like, it was so dark. It was so kind of dreary at times. I said, yes, it's supposed to be dreary at times. You know, it was supposed to be, because it's a dark time in the Empire. Don't you read the opening crawl? Okay, I'm just saying. You know, don't you read the opening? Oh, come on, it's in all that shit. It's a dark time, and it's supposed to be sort of like that, and I think it's very good. So I'm looking forward to that. And then also we're getting The Acolyte. Now, I don't know what to think of this. This could end up being huge. It could end up not being huge. It is set thousands of years before the original New Hope movie. Okay, and it's gonna be interesting. I don't know. I'm very intrigued by how they're gonna take it back that far in the timeline, have it make sense. Obviously, you're getting a slew of new characters that, you know, nobody's gonna have ever heard of and like that. So it is very much a blank page. I'm interested to see with these new ones. Now, this is the thing, though. People are clamoring, though, for more Mandalorian, more Book of Boba Fett, things like that. With Filoni in there now, you know, really getting his hands in there and working on stuff. I mean, we've seen what he can do, right? We've seen what he can do. I'm telling you, I wish he had done at least one of the sequels. I don't know. Maybe Last Jedi, maybe 8, right? Although Rian Johnson made a completely visually stunning movie. I know there were some things I didn't like. I actually watched that the other night. I love being able to, movies I've seen a bunch of times, because you come in, you watch a little bit, you leave, whatever. You know what's going on. The scene in Last Jedi where Snoke dies, just, it kind of pissed me off. At first I was like, look, this is the way it goes, this is whatever. And then because the way it goes into how they dealt with it in The Rise of Skywalker, I don't know, man. I'm just saying, I wish Filoni had a little bit more in those things. But, you know, this is the thing. When Disney took over the whole Lucasfilm thing, I don't think they truly understood how people in the Star Wars fandom verse, I don't think they realize how they feel about it quite yet. I think they listened. I think they had a good idea. But, I think some things could have been better. I think the sequels, 7, 8, 9 could have been better. I think they would have been with Dave Filoni. And I think it's going to be pretty cool. Yeah. So nerd talk right there off the bat. I had to get it out of the way because I think it's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. If you want to talk about it, you can always email me, johndpodcom@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on any of the social medias, John D Comedy, John D Podcast on Twitter, John D Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, John D Podcom, Threads, John D Podcom. I've actually communicated with some people on there who listen to the show. It's actually pretty cool. So if you have any thoughts or opinions, and of course, everything geeky, nerdy on John D Podcast is brought to you in part by MondoMonsterwear.com. Podcast at checkout for 10% off your order. Okay. I used to say an exclusive discount, and it is, but you get 10%. Am I supposed to say that? Am I not supposed to say that? Shout out to Jordan over there. Haven't talked to you in a while. But welcome back on the show. That was sort of my fault, partly. No, I hadn't really been talking about much geeky stuff, was I? I don't think I was. I got cycles, man. I got cycles. All right, let's move on. Have you guys heard about this lately? I just saw this the other day, and I can't believe it's happening. In the world of what? Really? Is that okay? Is that where we're going with life? There is now a liquor that tastes like nacho cheese Doritos. It's not a joke. I don't know if you heard about it. I know a lot of people did. I meant to get this out earlier, but I have to talk about it because this is absolutely insane. I don't get it. This goes under the list of times that I don't miss drinking because this is the thing. This stuff exists now. And at some point, some of my old drinking friends, if they don't, I'm just telling you, my old drinking friends, at some point, one of them would have bought a bottle of this stuff and it would have been like 3 a.m. and we'd all be, hammer time. And one of them would like, whoa, I got this nacho cheese. I was going to save it. But I think we should screw it. Let's do some shots. Yeah. And that would have happened. And I would have been like, all right. And after the first couple, because I already be drunk anyways, right? Once you actually get drunk, that's the thing about drinking. Once you get that first couple down, you just start to go with it. At least that's how I was, which is one reason I had to quit. But irrelevant to make my point. I'm just saying, I would have ended up drinking this at some point. The same thing with Fireball. I'm drinking Fireball. I got sick heartburn, crazy heartburn. And I think one time it was making my legs cramp up. I'm not joking. Dehydration. Was I playing football on that Sunday? No, I was laying in bed with with a knot in my leg. Yeah. The highfalutin side of drinking. So, all right. So in case you ever wanted a drink, though, that tasted like a snack food, Doritos has teamed up with Empirical Liquor. And they've created it's a booze. And it's supposed to taste just like the Chips classic nacho cheese flavor. So basically, it's what they're calling a nacho cheese spirit. Yeah. I don't see a lot of spirit in this. I know it's a term. It's called a nacho cheese spirit, right? And it was made from using real Dorito chips and alcohol. Well, I've done that a million times, okay? I've done that a million. I've had alcohol and Doritos. I don't know. I guess you're just cutting out the middleman, which would have been my stomach. But anyway, that's according to a news release that they made about it. And here's the thing that's about this. It's a Pepsi-owned company. The PepsiCo brand, this is out of USA Today, this is one thing I found. It says the PepsiCo brand said that the limited time booze can be made into multiple cocktails that can be sipped neat or over ice. Who is sipping this? Oh, would you like a snifter of brandy? No, but do you have any of that nacho cheese liquor? Let's put on our smoking robes and go hang out in the parlor. Is that what it was? It was a parlor? I don't know. I've never had one. Let's have us some cigars and a little bit of nacho cheese liquor. What the? Oh my God. It says here in this article in USA Today, it says that Empirical's, the distiller CEO Lars Williams, he says Empirical is an uncategorized spirits company. So it allows us the freedom to experiment with really interesting flavors. Yeah, but I think you're getting a little overboard. Seriously. They're not making it normally. What they're doing is they're using vacuum distillation instead of traditional, right? So I guess you just sucks the flavor. What do you just suck the powder off of the chips, and you're like you just mix it in with some moonshine or something? You know what I mean? I feel bad for some poor bastard that has to stay in there in the factory. He's got himself a vacuum hose, and he's just like just sucking the powder off. Now, George, you got to fill up that container before you go to lunch. I know. This is absolutely ridiculous. I'm not going to get to try it, obviously, because I don't ever plan on drinking again. I'm just glad that this came out after I had quit, is my point. So, I don't know. If anybody tries it out, I want to know. Because I love Doritos. Don't get me wrong. The Cool Ranch, I'm more of a Cool Ranch guy myself. If I was going to do anything. But maybe that wouldn't make a good liquor. I had a hard time doing the Taco Bell shells with the, right? Do you remember that? I had a hard time with that. At first, I was like, I don't know. I had a couple. No, the first one I ever ate of those, I hadn't eaten all day. So anyways, and then the other times, yeah, I had a few in me. And at that point, whatever. You could eat shoe leather. This is really good. This is really good. Nah, this is the best shoe leather I've ever had. I'm not lying. This, dude, it's so good. What is this, a Reebok? Oh, man, they're a lot better than they used to be. Yeah. And that's what I would have done if I drank nacho cheese flavored Doritos. From what I've read, people have said, it tastes like nacho. It tastes like a little bit like a tortilla. And I'm like, that's great. And then, of course, a little bit of burn from some booze. Which, hey, you gotta love the burn, right? Feel the burn. I don't know. I feel like I would drink it and then I'd be like, wow, nacho, cheese, Doritos, and a little bit of why did they make this? I think I could be hammered and I'd be going, why am I doing this? And why does this exist? Seriously. This is the other thing. Mountain Dew. I love Mountain Dew. I'm a Mountain Dew addict at this point. I don't drink, but I do have a little bit of a mild Mountain Dew addiction. But the Mountain Dew alcohol, I don't know. I was never much of a Four Locos guy, but it's crazy. It's crazy to think about just how alcohol has evolved. Well, goddamn, sucking the powder off of Doritos to make it into a booze. I guess alcohol has just become that boring now. Think of all the different vodkas they have. Pickle flavored vodka. Nacho cheese liquor. That is something. All right, I'm going to take a break. Make sure you follow me on Instagram, John D. Podcom, Threads, John D. Podcom, John D. Podcast on Facebook. And when we come back in the second part of episode 58, we're going to be talking about NHL. And then we're going to be answering a question that was posed to me in my recovery group about comedy. So stick around. More John D. Podcast right after this. When I quit booze for good, one thing I learned was to always keep your palate entertained. And one of my new favorite ways to make it happen is BlendJet 2. BlendJet 2 is portable, so you can blend up a smoothie at work, a protein shake at the gym, or even an NA margarita on the beach. It's small enough to fit in a cup holder, but powerful enough to blast through tough ingredients like ice and frozen fruit with ease. BlendJet 2 is whisper quiet, so you can make your morning smoothie without waking up the whole house. Lasts for 15 plus blends and recharges quickly via USB-C. Best of all, BlendJet 2 cleans itself. Just blend water with a drop of soap and you're good to go. With over 30 plus colors and patterns to choose from, there's a BlendJet 2 to complement just about any style. What are you waiting for? Go to blendjet.com and grab yours today. And be sure to use the promo code JohnDPod12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. No other portable blender on the market comes close to the quality, power, and innovation of the BlendJet 2. They guarantee you'll love it or your money back. Blend anytime, anywhere with BlendJet 2 portable blender. Go to blendjet.com and use the code JohnDPod12 to get 12% off your order and free 2-day shipping. Shop today and get the best deal ever. BlendJet 2. And welcome back to part 2 of episode 58, numero 58 of John D. Podcast. I'm your host, John D. Miller. How was your break, everybody? How was your break? Yeah? BlendJet. Thank you for being a sponsor on the show. John D Pod 12 at checkout for 12% off and free shipping. Now, here's one thing I want to mention about that. You need to actually remember to put the code in. Okay? If you don't follow my referral link and you actually just go to the site or whatever and you put in the code, just make sure it's in there, because apparently some people bought BlendJets and I did not get the funds because of you buying them because you didn't put the code in. Okay? I appreciate the effort, and I hope you're enjoying your very useful BlendJet. But if you do it, please make sure you put in John D Pod 12 for 12% off and free shipping, because you didn't. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling you. And you're not the only people I've heard about this happening to, right? So you got to follow the proper links and everything. If you just go there and just buy one, it's not gonna work that way. All right. So just make sure if you do get one of those. All right. Let's get to some hockey stuff. Somebody posed a question to me. It was just on social media, and they said, I don't really want to have my name out there. And I said, well, that's going to sound suspicious. And they said, well, I just here's the thing. And I said, okay, fine. And they were asking me about, what do you think about the whole Ovechkin situation in Washington? Yeah. Here's what I think about it. But basically what he was asking me was, he was saying, do you think that Ovi's going to break the record for most goals scored all time, right? Which he has 827, right? And Gretzky set the record at 894. So he is 67 goals away from tying the record. And of course, 68 to break the record. Do I think he's going to do it? I don't know. I'm really starting to have my doubts, partly because the guy hasn't scored in how long? He's only got like 5 goals on the season. He's due. He leads the entire team in shots. He's up there in the league in shots. Do I think he is, though? I don't know. I mean, he doesn't, I watch him play. He doesn't have the stick handling ability that he used to. He doesn't have that jump that he used to. The guy's 38 years old. I'm not knocking the dude. He just doesn't. Basically, he's still got a killer shot. He does have assists, and quite a few of them. So he has those. But they're usually off of like a quick pass across. Now, don't get me wrong. If anything, it means his game has evolved more. That guy used to never pass the puck. Never. And there are times when they keep feeding him and he gets the shots on the power play. But teams are literally just keying up on him and just kind of keeping a guy shadowing over to him, because if he does get the puck and it's not a clean pass, he doesn't stick handle. I don't know what the deal is. I'm not saying when I played beer league hockey that I was some great stick handler, but I'm just talking about hockey in general, right? So basically, do I think he's going to break the record? No, I don't. I don't think he is. But it's not all his fault. Obviously, 827 goals is an amazing feat, especially with what the NHL is nowadays, right? But at the same time, it's also not Ovechkin's fault, because you got to remember the first year he was drafted in 2004. So, and there was no 2004-05 season, right? And then you have other seasons that were shortened because of COVID and things like that. And lockouts that took up half of seasons. Was it 2012? So, I mean, that's not all his fault. He basically missed 2 full seasons, I guess. Right about that. I don't think he will. Now, one of the things that I would say, he might. He still might. But the Caps are in sort of a rebuild phase, and they're trying to kind of rebuild around him, but they've lost Backstrom, and other guys aren't, Oshie keeps getting hurt. So if he does do it, I would not be surprised if he does it in another uniform, such as a Montreal Canadiens, because, I mean, they've always loved him in Montreal. He's always said he would, if he was going to play anywhere. I think it's more of a city location type of thing that he likes Montreal. And who knows? I mean, if the Caps ever do, God forbid, but if they ever do trade him, they would obviously take the best offer that they were going to get. And that's, of course, what you would do. But if, for instance, I think Ovi, after the years of everything, if he said, yeah, I'd like to go to Montreal, I think they would probably hook him up. But, that's here nor there. But no, I do have serious doubts as to whether or not he will break the record at all. I mean, I love Ovi. I'm starting to feel like he's not going to break the record. And that's sad. One solace I take in the fact that Ovi is starting to show his age. is the fact that the Caps have so many young players. I mean, they're starting to show signs of having young players such as Buffalo, Detroit, the Kings, the Ducks, and some of those guys that they have, the Coyotes. I don't think it's going to be his fault, but I don't think he's going to make it. To answer that anonymous person's question, I hadn't talked about much about NHL. I'm not going to go too much into NHL. I think the season's been really interesting. One of the craziest things is seeing Jonathan Quick in a Rangers jersey, of all places. That's just really strange. This is something you don't see every day, right? And he's having a good start to the season, which is, good for him. Vegas is doing well. Buffalo, I'm telling you, they're a talented young team, injured like crazy. Kings are tearing up in the West again. I just talked about them, what they have. Watch out for Phoenix. And I'm telling you, I'm saying it right now, you watch Vancouver. I think a lot. I mean, they've been doing well. And I'm interested to see what they do. I'm just saying. Like, blah, 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 blah. Did you hear that? Ugh, your neighbors hate you. I know. Executive producer Topic says I sound like a crazy person. That's his voicemail when you call him. He says I sound like a crazy person when I do that. I know, but there's no way you didn't hear that. Anyways, so I don't know. NHL's looking good. I think the season's been pretty good so far. The Caps are playing the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight after taking out the Islanders in overtime. Really like Dylan Strome and what he's doing. Leading the team in goals. He's been doing pretty well. I really thought Ovi was going to pull one in the overtime. They got a power play in overtime, and I really thought he was going to pull one past former Capital Varlamov, but no. It was Strome, and I was fine with it. Win, baby, win. That's all I got to say, right? Which finally on this episode, which I got to get going here in a minute, because my kid's upstairs and Liz is out doing stuff, so he's upstairs, and I got to go check on him. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine. He's got his Nintendo Switch. He's fine. And he knows where to find me. But I went upstairs to go check on him during the break. And he asked me if he could play on my PlayStation. I said, no. And he said, you're under arrest. And I said, I'm under arrest. You're over arrest. Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good dad line. Yeah. That's dealing with a 10-year-old who's very excited to be on Christmas, holiday, winter break. We have to call it all three, right? Is that what it is? For this last part, though, Ryan in my recovery group and his girlfriend Shelby, they said I could say their names. They were asking me about comedy. And one of the things that they posed, and they were saying, like, hey, maybe you could talk about this on the episode. And I was like, you could always send an email and I could read it. And they said, can't you just talk about it on the episode? And I said, fine. So here I am. So they were talking to me about what comics do I like lately, which I always like to give people because I watch stand-up all the time. I have since I was a kid. Younger than my son is now, but they were asking me also specifically in regards to the whole Matt Rife situation. I don't know if you know who Matt Rife is. Matt Rife is a young comedian. A lot of the stuff you see of him online is him doing a lot of crowd work. And he's a good looking dude. Don't get me wrong. He's a good looking dude. He's definitely, he definitely has the looks thing going on, which, they say 80% of anybody listening to you is going to be, what you look like. And then it's, 10% of how you sound. And then they say it's about 10% of how you sound. And the other 10% is what you're actually talking about. But he does have a Netflix special out. In the beginning of the special, he talks about how they were in a place eating. He's with another comic. They're in a place eating. And their server has a black eye. And they said, hey, and one of the comics, as the joke goes, as he tells it, his friend goes, maybe they should put her in the back. And Matt Rife says in the joke that if, to the other comic, that if she could work in the back, she wouldn't have the black eye. A lot of people have said, that's such a shocking way to open a Netflix special. And they're attributing the fact that he gets a lot of attention from women because of his looks. They bring him gift bags to the shows and he opens. I've seen clips. Whatever. He's got it going on. That's good for him. But a lot of people are saying that it's just the way to open the show. They're like, just how could he do that? And people saying it's kind of misogynist and stuff like that. You know what? That always is going to exist in comedy. It has existed since I was listening as a kid. It existed when I was working in the clubs a lot. There's always, it's a joke. I get it. And some people are saying that he should apologize. And, he also did a thing where people got offended at the joke, and then he put a link on this apology that he put out. And if you followed the link, it went to a website that sold protective helmets, I guess for everyday use. I don't know. And people are saying, well, what about that? I mean, that was kind of rude too. And he's been very basically unapologetic about the whole thing and saying, well, it's a joke. I'm not going to apologize. Well, you know what? That's going to happen. I think one thing that I've learned in dealing with stand-up and anything creative, if you don't like it, don't look at it. You don't have to sit there and take in the content. You don't have to. I mean, I know it's fun sometimes to sit there and hate on something because you don't like it, so you end up watching it anyways. I think everybody's just human in that aspect. But at the same time, you don't have to be there. You don't have to watch them. If you don't watch them, nobody watches them. He won't get more Netflix specials, right? And people say, what about the attitudes and stuff like that? And one of the questions that was posed, Ryan was saying to me was, how come all these comics are always being so shocking? And that's always been there too. There's always been comics who say things that are absurd or outrageous. Eddie Murphy was probably one of the biggest ones at doing that. Aunt Bunny falling down the stairs. Dropping your ice cream in dog shit and still eating it. He was definitely a pioneer in that, and other comics did it too. Just saying Eddie Murphy is one of the ones that first come to mind. Don't get me wrong. He was brilliant at it. That's always going to exist. And sometimes people go, well, in comedy, I don't want to have that. There's plenty of comics out there who aren't shocking, who aren't going for the rug pull. A couple of them that I would recommend. I always recommend Maria Bamford, although she's awesome. Just saying, represent, the women. Maria Bamford. I've always been a big fan. I actually just watched some of her stand-up the other day. Her new special. I don't have it right here in front of me, but check it out. It's anything Maria Bamford. She's fantastic. But then also Nate Bargatze. A lot of people were introduced to him on SNL, and he was an awesome job. And, he's great. I mean, he does all clean. He talks about family stuff. He does have innuendo, but it's very mild and it's in there and it's very funny. And I actually find him very refreshing. It actually has kind of inspired me to do things like, for instance, I'm telling you right now, I might talk about politics on here. I might talk about politics on social media. If you come to one of my shows that I'm on, I'm not talking any more politics or religion ever again in my stand-up. I'm not touching it ever again. I'm done. I'm done with it. It's not going in. We can all be in a solid, safe space and laugh about other things. Matt Rife, he's not somebody like me. He doesn't have to go to a club. Nobody's ever heard of him. And I have to appeal to a very broad audience because I want everybody to like me. No, people go to see Matt Rife because it's Matt Rife, right? That's how they want to go see the good looking, fit kid who's spouting off all this stuff out of his square jawline face. But that's the thing. People go to see him. They don't, I'm not saying people don't come to my show to see me, but I'm just saying in his situation, he constantly has that. And you don't have to go. You don't have to go. Nate Bargatze and then Maria Bamford. And then another one of my favorites. And I've actually got to work with this guy years ago. I think I might have mentioned him a couple of episodes ago. He has a set that he recorded. It's actually back from 2019, I believe is what it is. But it's 52 minutes. It's all him. And it's on YouTube. You can get it for free. And he's pretty clean. I don't think he swears hardly at all if he does it all. But it's recorded at Zany's in Nashville, which is a great club. I actually worked with him years ago down south. It wasn't a Comedy Zone gig. It was one of the other kind of independents back then. I don't even remember it. I was telling my wife the other night, my lovely wife, Liz. I was like, yeah, Dusty Slay. This guy's awesome. And then she was like, what are you watching? I was watching my computer. And, but I don't remember the club. Here's what I'm saying. That's where booze, man. I don't know. But anyways, I worked with him several years ago. Awesome, sweet, nice guy. Hadn't really heard of him in a long time, but I also got out of the scene for a long time. But that guy's awesome. Check out Dusty Slay. Always wears a trucker cap. And he talks about living in a trailer park. I mean, the guy really, he's talented, very talented guy. So, Maria Bamford, Nate Bargatze, Dusty Slay, the list could go on and on if you're looking for something that's a little less. And I get it. Some people have said they don't want to go to comedy shows anymore because every comic is cursing too much or whatever. Now, trust me, I've gotten on stage. If you listen to my new little short album I did, comedy album, quick burn. It's available on YouTube, John D. Podcom. You're going to hear some swearing. You're going to hear some swearing, damn it. But with that crowd, I knew I could do it, and it would be fine. If I was in maybe a different crowd, I wouldn't have done it. But, if you go to a club, if you go to like the Funny Bone or something, you shouldn't get offended, but don't be afraid to be offended, but also don't be afraid to laugh about it. Okay? That's so wrong you can laugh and say that's so wrong at the same time. It's all right. It's okay to laugh and go, that is so wrong. Just remember that. I think that's a metaphor of life, to be honest with you. What do I think about Matt Rife? I think he's going to do what he does, and he's going to get his fan base. He's going to do what he does. Don't be surprised if you see him in some movie in the future, although I don't know. I don't think I've seen any of his acting, but from what I've heard, he's not that great at it. I mean, it might be better than me, but I'm not all like buff and cool and shit, right? I mean, comics can do what they do. We're going to get out of here. Merry Christmas to everybody, okay? And of course, in this season of giving, make sure you remember our charities, all right? No Kid Hungry. Mean to school-aged children are in situations where the best meal of the day for them comes from school. No Kid Hungry helps children with meals when children are in need or away from school, such as right now on winter, holiday, Christmas break, weekends and holidays. Wounded Warrior Project. The brave men and women who have served our country deserve the best care we can give them after they return home. Some of them have wounds that are external and or internal, and they might need help with them, or even just accessible housing. Wounded Warrior Project, okay? Bestfriends.org is making a difference by helping homeless dogs and cats in shelters be adopted faster and in more numbers. Their goal is to have the entire country no kill by the year 2025. And after all that charity, you got time for a little charity. You can help support the show on Venmo at John D. Podcom. John D. Podcom. Instagram, Threads, John D. Podcast, Facebook. You can email the show, johndpodcom@gmail.com. Had a couple emails last episode, none for this one. Just some people that wanted to message me and say, can you talk about this? Which was fine. I don't mind doing that either. And I'll say your name or not. I'll say your first name. We can do that too, if you want. No worries. The email thing is fun. That's all. It's kind of cool to sit there and read it and then do it. It's kind of fun. It's a fun thing. Executive producers for John D. Podcast are Tom Hancock. That's his voicemail when you call him. I love you, brother. And Liz Miller, my wife. Love you. Thanks to them for each helping make this happen in their own ways. This episode was recorded and produced by yours truly, John D. Miller, in the Amber Tree Media Studio. Don't forget blendjet.com, John D. Pod 12 as your code for 12% off and free shipping. Merry Christmas, everybody. And I know a lot of you will hear this after Christmas. I'm sorry it took me so long to get back to you. Life gets busy sometimes, but I do this when I can. No set schedule, right? But I just want you to remember, it's Christmas time. And I know it takes about 2 weeks before people really start listening to the episode. I get some up front, and then, in a week, 10 days. I said 2 weeks. It's probably more about a week or 10 days before I really start to accumulate a lot of listens. Like I said, you guys got to go through your libraries till you get bored enough. You're going to listen to my sultry, sexy voice. But it's Christmas. All right. It's a holiday season. We just had Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah to all my Jewish people that I love and know. And, any and all of them. And any other holiday. Happy holidays, everybody. Merry Christmas to those who celebrate. Remember that. And don't forget, be nice to people out there. Hold the door for somebody. Do something like that. Say hello. Go out of your way, be a little extra generous to somebody. Okay. And I don't mean just giving them money. Be nice. You can share your time, your effort, your thoughts, your words, whatever it may be. And it's not something we should do just this time of year. We should do it all the time. All the time. Because we don't have enough of it in the world. Okay? Thank you so much for listening to episode 58. Número 58 in the old Espanol language. That's right. Of John D. Podcast. I've been your host, John D. Miller. Oh, by the way, you might notice the logo is different. I took the thing away. Yes. Thank you, Adobe, for that. Shit. I forgot it. Whatever. All right, guys. Merry Christmas. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. And until next time, later for you.